Mahomes in the driver's seat to win back-to-back MVPs. The list after that consists of Burrow, then Josh Allen, who's already on the Madden cover, Jalen Hurts, fresh off a Super Bowl appearance, Justin Herbert, who has yet to win a playoff game, the Prince who was promised, who has led the playoffs with 5 interceptions. Greg, he threw 4 in one half.
Okay, and came back and won the game.
He filled in a hole that he dug. Okay. And then Lamar with his host of new receivers. So, Greg, if Mahomes doesn't win it, who do you think would?
Well, I'm a Joe Burrow fan. Joe Burrow is one of those guys that you look at what he has at his disposal. You got T. Higgins, you got Jamar Chase, 2 of the best guys in the league at that position. Their offense has been together for years. They can roll. We know he's going to throw the ball. And when you look at the quarterback position, they're going to have to throw the ball in order to fight off of Patrick Mahomes winning his second consecutive if he gets it. But there's a guy in Philly that's going to have a lot to say about all of it. Okay. And I think Jalen Hurts has probably the easiest path to get it done because of what he provides his team. He's going to run the ball. We know he can run the ball, but he has 2 bona fide playmakers on the outside. And Dallas Goedert, a guy who somebody in this world thinks that he's the best tight end in football. But you got a head coach that's giving him the keys to just be great. You talk about some of the guys, Josh Allen being injured, and we don't really talk about it. We don't really talk about this guy suffering an injury last season and tapering off a little bit. Like he did.
Yep.
One of the reasons why they possibly didn't win the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. A little jab at my guy Nick, but Jalen Hurts, he had the potential to win it last year. Yeah. If he improves, I'm not saying that his team is going to have a better regular season.
But he's improved every year.
But I think he is going to be a much better quarterback. He's going to throw the ball a lot better. He's going to be able to beat you in the air and on the ground. That's going to give Patrick Mahomes
I don't think that's either one of those are bad takes at all. What I would worry for Hurts is, and we see this sometimes, is are you held to the standard of the MVP of the league this year, or are you held to the standard of what you did last year? So for Hurts, he was 14-1 as a starter, all of that, and got 1 first-place MVP vote. But that was a lot of people thought he should win it until he got hurt at the end. If the Eagles are 12-5 and he has the same numbers, I do wonder if that's going to, even if it's not fair, if that's going to hurt his ability to win the award. Burrow, I think, is a really smart choice, and I think Burrow eventually will win one. I'm going with, and I don't know yet, I maybe would answer this even if the non-Mahomes thing wasn't on the screen.
Here we go.
I think this is going to be a monster year from Trevor Lawrence. Let me give some, can I just give some,
please,
some historical and contemporaneous reasoning?
Don't mention high school, though.
I promise I won't.
Okay.
Trevor Lawrence's NFL comp is, of course, Peyton Manning. #1 pick, can't miss prospect, threw a boatload of interceptions his rookie year, and by his second year was already in the playoffs, winning the AFC South, and awesome. Peyton did not win league MVP in year 3, but he did lead the league in yards passing and touchdown passes. Contemporaneous evidence. Guys win or come close to winning MVPs very quickly. Mahomes won it in year 2. Lamar won it in year 2. Wentz was going to win it in year 2 and then broke his leg. Jalen Hurts was in year 3 and came in second, I guess. Josh Allen was in year 3 and came in second or third. His monster year in 2020, the best year he's had. So that is not, it is by no means, it's like, oh, it's too early. In the NBA, that's a thing. In the NFL, it's not a thing anymore. And then there is the reverse of what I'm saying Jalen's going to be working against. Jalen's going to be working against the team was the #1 seed, was the last undefeated team, all of it. The Jags were a team that was dead on arrival at Thanksgiving, surged into the playoffs. They could win 13 games this year. If you look at their schedule, they get their division, which is the worst division in football, if we can throw it up there. They also get the NFC South, which is the worst division in the NFC. Greg, they don't have a single time all year that you're like, oh, that's back-to-back tough games. All of their tough games are sandwiched around a bye or easy games. So and they add Calvin Ridley, and it's the second year in the Doug Peterson system, and there's so many reasons to think that he could just have a monster year, even if you don't believe in him to the level I do, that he could have a monster statistical year in the AFC North. Burrow, it's going to be hard to have a gaudy record in the AFC North. It's going to be hard to have a gaudy record in the AFC East. It's not going to be hard to have a great record in the AFC South.
Even for
I buy that.
It was pretty good.
I buy all of that.
Okay.
It wasn't. Greg, can I make? He's not my pick. Okay, so he's not the best non-Mahomes bet, but I want to root for him, and he's connected to one of your guys. And last year he led the league with 15 interceptions, even though he played 12 games. So the team wins will be there. If the interceptions came down, and maybe your guy opens up the playbook a little bit, even though his best season he was still like 500 plus yards behind Mahomes for passing yards. Dak Prescott, does he have a path?
I don't see it.
No path at all.
I'm not saying there's no possible path at all. I just have a hard time seeing it because when I look at what's around him, yes, I nod my head like CeeDee Lamb, bona fide player. Tony Pollard's coming off an injury.
Sure.
I don't know who else is going to truly step up and be that other guy. So where's it going to come from? Unless you go out there and get DeAndre Hopkins and be a dark horse to grab him.
So here's my concern for Dak MVP, and it's also kind of a concern for the Cowboys. Even though I think the Cowboys, I've talked about this before, but in the NFC this year, everyone's going to pick. It feels like either the Eagles or the Niners. If those two teams, if you're like, I don't believe in them, it is hard to find a team you can believe in to make the Super Bowl. It's like, am I going with the Lions? Am I going with the Seahawks? Am I going with maybe the Dallas Cowboys? But as far as his MVP odds, Mike McCarthy giving those quotes where he was like, yeah, I don't want to lead the league in offense. I want to lead the league in winning. To me, that's what he was like. I love Kellen. I was Kellen once. He was like, but he's all about scoring points and gaining yards, and I'm trying to win football games. I'm paraphrasing your guy here. I'm not even necessarily saying that's the wrong strategy. I think it's the wrong strategy, but let's just say it's the right strategy. It certainly is not the right strategy for your quarterback to be league MVP. Yeah. If you're telegraphing, we're going to try to be run first, defense first, clock management team. That's not going to be a ton of gaudy stats. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.